So throughout the last decade, there have been a handful of enthusiast cars that have come to the market, and we've definitely played our part in making parts and having fun with a lot of them. Well, today we've brought a handful of our select cars up to Brainerd International Raceway to decide which car is the best enthusiast vehicle when modified of the last decade. We're not going to waste a ton of time talking about it. We're just going to start racing cars. All right, so the first thing we're gonna be doing is a little bit of roll racing with the cars because we figured that's what the most of the enthusiast base would compare this to. It's the most accurate representation to spirited driving out in Mexico. So we're here at the drag strip. We're gonna be doing roll racing down here, but instead of using the boards today, our times are sponsored by Dragy. So the first thing we're gonna show you how to do is install one of these bad boys. And if you're not familiar with these, what these allow you to do is actually record your 0 to 60 times, quarter miles, things like that. And so this is what we're gonna use to time our quarter mile roll racing passes with each of the cars. Now these are super easy to install and they can actually be installed in a very short amount of time. Honestly, I'm gonna say just like that. Less than 60 seconds, even if you're an idiot like me. First thing, when you take it out of the package, it's gonna come with these magnetic strips. You get 2 of them, so if you got 2 cars, you're in good shape. Take off the 3M adhesive tape, basically stick it to anywhere on the dash where this device will be able to receive good GPS signal. This is also magnetic, so then once this is obviously taped down, this will just clip right on there and you're ready to go. Next, you want to download the app on your phone, and then it's pretty easy to set up from there. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and legitimately install this, and then we're gonna be set up to go do the roll racing. All right, you guys, so first up on our matchup is the one of the decade. We're gonna kick this thing off with a bang. I'm not gonna tell you what cars they are. You guys are gonna see them go by here. We're gonna flag them right now. Driver 1, you ready? You ready? Go!
I lost the charge pipe when I shifted into 4th. But you were already we were close. We could do it again.
The STI would have been faster with an 11.74 versus a 12 something, I think it was 66, thank you, Kevin. 12.66 and 11.74. So we're gonna run it back one more time and we're gonna figure out once and for all, is it the STI or the WRX that's a faster car? We'll see.
We need to start from a 35 roll and then be at 40 when we go through.
All right, you guys, so we're measuring the 40 to 100 with these cars through the Dragy. Tiny's saying that he missed 4th. They're doing a second run because he said Dalen got the jump. It was the STI. Anyways, from there, now we're gonna go ahead and pair up another legendary couple here. We've got the Evo 10 versus the Civic Type R, the FK8. And so what's gonna be happening here quick is a little bit of a warm-up run since these cars have been sitting here cold for a little bit. We've also got a cold track, unprepped, very similar to street conditions. These cars are in similar configurations, so it should be relatively close. I'm really excited to see which one's faster. How'd you do, buddy?
We did a 40 to 100 in 9.18 seconds.
9.1. Let's see what Dalen has. Dalen, what's your 40 to 100?
9.64.
9.64. All right, so the next one's gonna determine which of the two is a better driver. Here, let me make you a little more aerodynamic.
I haven't fixed that yet.
FK8 versus the Ultimate Evo 10.
Wait, hold on.
What happened? You f***ed up, so you gave up? You're telling me that you f***ed up, so you quit?
Yep.
Hey, the problem is right here. He had these leaves in the way of the intercooler.
Dalen, I just f***ed the startup.
Okay.
I'm good to go again if you are.
Yeah, give me a second. I just reset it.
Okay, I did too. I'm ready when you are.
Mine was worse.
I think mine was better.
Mine was a 10.15.
10-1?
Yeah.
I went 8.95.
Yeah, I must have f***ed something up, or I don't know.
Something smells funny.
I know.
I can't determine what kind of funny smell that is. I think it smells like rubber.
Maybe.
So why are you guys doing another one? I just want to say it to the camera.
I think I just f***ed up because my time was like much worse, but the cars were still dead even.
All right, you guys, so we've done a couple of runs now with some slight mishaps. Said they want to do one more run just so they can make sure that they've got a super clean run so that these cars are the accurate representation of what they could actually run in a 40 to 100 roll race. So with that being said, we're going to run it back one more time. So you guys, it's also worth filling you in that all of the cars that you guys see running today have similar configurations. So as you guys saw maybe earlier in the series, if not, check out up here, we went ahead and built this STI just for this purpose. We put all these cars in what would essentially be a stage 2 configuration, running all MAPerformance products. MAPerformance products. That's a weird one to say. But with that being said, we also got some really cool engine bay dress up stuff. We got some stuff from our friends over at Grimspeed. Obviously it's powder coated to match our MAPerformance intake on this car. However, in this one, we got some powder coated MAPerformance products that just go with the rest of the theme of the car. All these cars are running the MAPerformance intake, catback, downpipe, and other similar products. They've also all got some sort of entry-level coilover setup in it. So again, with this car, we're running the Fortunato 500s. This one, he's got the entry-level setup from Olin's, which is their road and track coilover. Anyways, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and now finally run our third matchup for the day. It's gonna be the Q60 versus the Supra. I know what you're thinking, the Supra and the Q60. What's what? The trans might be the big differentiator between the two cars, but we're gonna find out. They're each making similar power levels, so it should be a close one. Let's go.
It made a noise I've never heard before. Like it didn't shift. Like it didn't shift fast enough. I think it got, is it cold? It might be too cold. 7.3. It was hauling. All right, let's go again. All right, Tyler, this is take 2 of the Q60 for the gap Dalen's ass. Dude, this thing is fast as fuck.
I know, I told you that.
I didn't think it was this fast.
Dude, it makes like f***ing almost 500 wheels. Let's go do one more run in these and then be done with these.
This is the fastest car. It went 7.3 or something like that, and the Supra's like 3 or 4 tenths slower. This thing hauls ass.
What'd you get?
7.1.
Mine was a 7.8.
This thing fucking hauls.
I know.
It came around you.
I know.
I didn't think this thing was that fast.
I keep telling you, the trans just feels like dookie.
It like makes it feel slow because of the trans.
In the trans, and this is good, so it makes it feel way faster.
Yeah, that's so weird. Well, we should put that on. We should put them both on E. And
I was just down at the finish line watching the last run, and I can't believe how neck and neck these cars actually are. Honestly, coming out here, I thought that the Supra was going to be the fastest car in the roll racing segment. There's obviously more that we're going to do to compare these cars than just some roll racing, but with that being said, it kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in the expectations that we had going into the day. All right, so we've got a little bit of a bonus round. Obviously, for comparison's sake, we need the times from the GTI, but as you can see, we brought our TLX Type S, and we're curious to see what this thing can do in the 40 to 100 range, but we're not gonna be putting the times in this video. If you wanna check that out, we're gonna be doing a separate TLX Type S video from up here at Brainerd, and if you're curious to see what this car can do in stock form, then stay tuned for that. You might notice that this car sounds a little bit different than it normally does stock. I don't know how well you can hear it, but we did go ahead and delete the mufflers on this car. Dalen, give me a couple of revs from back here. That's a good quality exhaust right there. I'm excited to see what we can do with this thing once we get it back into the shop for some modifications. But without further ado, we're gonna let these guys run it. So when it comes to the roll racing portion of things, as we could tell, the Q60 was the winner, which is actually surprising because coming out here, I think you could have asked any one of us and we would have thought the Supra would take the cake. But in all reality, it turns out the Q60 is, of all the cars, the fastest when it comes to the 40 to 100. Now, we have a couple other things we're gonna be doing to compare these cars, and for that, we're gonna be utilizing the road course here at Brainerd International Raceway. Of course, with that being said, there's gonna be some various things that come into play, some of which are relatively opinionated things. So we've come up with a panel and some judging so that we can go through and actually drive these cars out on the road course and give a score based on performance, based on comfort, because obviously when you're looking at some of the things that you would take into consideration when it comes to a car all around, there's things that you would be evaluating other than just the 40 to 100 times. So when it comes to choosing the best car of the decade, again, there's gonna be some other factors involved. This thing's currently in the lead, but that could all change. All right, you guys, it is day 2 up here at Brainerd International Raceway. We are, as you can maybe tell by the weather, fighting with a race against the rain today. So yesterday we were fighting the sun, today we're fighting the rain. So we've got about 4 hours to get all this testing done. Hopefully it doesn't start raining, but if it does, we'll at least be able to go ahead and do all these performance laps out on the track with consistent conditions. So again, if we're at least going to be doing some wet laps with these cars, we'll have wet lap versus wet lap to compare, as opposed to just all dry laps or some dry laps, some wet laps. So again, trying to keep things as consistent as possible. What we're doing is picking a spot on the track, We're gonna pick this apex, the final turn as you go back under the tunnel. That's gonna be the starting and stopping point. Unfortunately, yesterday after we were done doing the roll racing, we were doing some digs, just kind of having a little bit of fun, and the clutch, we believe, broke on the Evo. So the Evo is out of the race. As you can tell, it's not next to me here. So with that being said, the Evo is going to be down for the count. We may have to finish that up at a later time. We're not really sure exactly what we're going to do to wrap that piece of things up. We're going to go ahead, get the Supra set up first to run. That's going to be the first car we do the performance on.
Shaka bra. That gives you a little epic mode. It has a little shaka bra.
Okay, good luck.
Party on, Wayne. Going into this, but we're a little soft. Track is slippery, tires are cold. Oop, there we go. Yeah, just like that. It's wet, slippery, cold. Cars are not loving it, but worst case scenario testing, I guess.
All right, Dalen's coming around after his first lap out, warming up the tires, making sure everything's good. It's kind of a practice lap. I'm gonna start the timer as soon as he hits this apex. Ready? 3, 2, 1. This is it. Let's go, baby.
Definitely being a little bit of a pussy. I mean, the car's got more in it. I just not comfortable with where all the limits are yet. So car can definitely go faster. It's right now it's me. I am the limitation of the car right now. Not confident in the tires. Everything's cold. If you gave me another couple hours of just lapping this car, we definitely have it. But trying to keep it between the lines.
All right, guys, Dalen just went around the carousel. He's coming back around through the S's to come up to this ending point. He's at 1:57. And this is in the rain. This is super dicey. So, like, again, not a super fast lap for this track, but 3, 2, 1, 208.
Using all the track here. Okay, so we're normally 120, 130 right here. About 110-ish, 90-ish now. Cars just sliding around.
So honestly, I think that the Supra at this power level is a little bit overpowered for what it's able to put down from like a traction standpoint. Here he comes. This one is a little bit faster. That one was 206, so 2 seconds faster on the second lap.
So we just did the first hot laps of the Supra. Everything's cold, track's cold, car's cold, everything's cold. I'm warm, the seat heaters are nice. The car's got more in it. It does really well. It's super composed. I'm the limitation right now. Like, with not being confident and everything, it's just going slower, car's stepping out on me. It feels good, it's fun. If I had another couple hours, I think I would have a blast in this thing out in the rain. But right now, the car's fun, it's fast. Being a rear-wheel drive car on a slippery track in the cold, like, it just wants to step out. So getting used to what it does there and like being able to hold that limit is a little bit terrifying. Once again, not my car. So, I mean, it's really fun. The car is a blast to drive. I think with either some different tires on it or a little more seat time, this thing could lap in the rain all day, no problem. All right, so we are in the Type R. This will be my second car of the day. I'm definitely gonna be a little bit in my head on this one because I don't have a lot of seat time in front wheel drive cars. So rear wheel drive, when things happen, at least my brain knows what to do. Whether it does it correct or not is a whole different ball game, but it at least knows what to do. I think the first lap in this is gonna be interesting. This car, it rotates like a rear wheel drive car. So I'm really curious to see what it does in the wet.
So Dalen's obviously kind of playing himself down a little bit. He's saying he's not that good of a driver, but I'll be honest with you guys, in comparison to like the average Joe, Dalen's an amazing driver. He just plays it down because he's comparing himself to real professional race car drivers. For what we're doing, Dalen is the perfect driver to be testing this.
Traction control off. Okay, so it already just feels more composed than the Supra. Like, I'm not pushing it. I'm definitely still driving like a
I love that we're getting some consistent comparisons. This is his warm-up lap. As soon as he comes back from this first one, we're gonna start the timer.
Okay, all right, found the limit there.
All right, he's coming around the front straight. We're gonna get ready to start our first timer as soon as he crosses that apex. 3, 2, 1. Hot lap number 1.
Much more confident in this thing coming around these turns. Touching the brakes just a touch. I'm going slower than I was in the Supra, but definitely feels better. Really. So we're on the Nankang CR ones. I'm impressed actually, because although yes, the tires got a little warmed up. Okay. ABS kicked in a little bit there to straighten me out. Really settled over bumps.
152, 4, 5. Here we go, ready? We're gonna lap it as soon as he hits the apex. First lap, 2:01:48.
Yeah, it's just floating around this turn, whereas the Supra felt just terrifying around that turn. I don't know if it's the car or the track's drying out a little bit from driving on it, but this is just way more confidence inspiring. I have to say, it's very fast. So like, it straightens me out, but it's immediately off of it. So like, although it's not ideal and fucks me a little bit, like, as far as a modern driver's aid, like, it definitely could have been much worse.
All right, he's coming up to end this second lap. He's at a 154 right now, 155. He's trying to beat a 2:01. Let's see if he can do it. He's super close. 2 minutes and 89 seconds here. That is gonna be it for the Supra. So the best time on that was a 2-minute flat. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a whole 6 seconds faster than the Supra.
The Supra was a little bit more loose. Probably, factory dampers can only do so much. I'm sure they're fine, but this car definitely just felt glued to the pavement in comparison to that.
All right, so we ended up with a 206 on the Supra, a 2.0 flat on the Type R, and now we're about to take the Q60 out. We've got a really nice system going here where Tiny's actually able to go out in the car that's about to go and help warm up the tires before Dalen actually goes out on the track. So we're able to be a bit more efficient with our time, so he doesn't have to spend 2 to 3 laps just trying to warm up the tires. So again, he's about to go out for his first out lap. We're gonna try and let him do the first one to get it all back up to temp. And then from there, we're gonna go and start the timer and give him 2 laps to get the best time he can.
First laps in the Q60. I'm honestly a little terrified about this one. This car is definitely, it's got a bunch of power, smaller tires. It's definitely set up a little bit more on the Stancy show car side than it is like all-out race car, like some of the, not all-out race car, but it's not set up to handle as well as some of the other cars. So I'm a little scared. It makes like a bunch of horsepower and it's rainy and wet and scary, and just gonna try not to die. The shifter goes the opposite direction that I would expect. Okay, I'm surprised. I know we have some very basic brakes on this one, so they're not the most confidence inspiring, but I'm surprised. I thought this car would be much more loose, but maybe I'm just not pushing it enough. Whew. Scrapey.
Coming around this front straight in the Q60. As you guys might remember, this car was in first place from a time perspective from the performance at the roll race. We're gonna get him started. Here we go. Let's see if this thing holds up on the road course.
Not as composed at speed as the rest of them have been. Track is definitely drier. I say that and it starts to rain a little bit. Overall, this car is actually really surprising me right now. Okay, tires are definitely showing their limit right there. So it does have a stock open diff, so it just gets more wheel spin and doesn't actually rotate the car much at all, which is a little bit weird. Oh, can't say I love that. If I were to road race this car more, or drift it, or really, do anything with this car, definitely needs a diff. Definitely needs a diff.
All right, he's coming around here after the first hot lap. I think he's just getting more comfortable because we're gonna be really close to like a 205 is what I'm gonna bet. Actually, he's gonna be faster than that. This might be the fastest one of all. 158 on that first out lap. He's really getting more comfortable, I think. So far the Q's still in the lead. It's faster than the Type R, and I bet he doesn't even realize it.
Getting a little too cocky in the car. Car's fast, got some power. Definitely one of the more powerful cars we have here. Brakes and tires are at their limit there. A little more tire and a little more brake, and I think there's a lot left in this car. It's definitely much more unsettled on like the bumps in comparison to the other cars. Okay, wants to go a little wide there.
This is gonna be the fastest lap yet, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely gonna be it. We're at 152, 53. A 156, 57.
Brakes in the front.
Oh yeah, the brakes are smoked.
Small tires, lots of power. It just wants to do rolling burnouts around a lot of the turns. It also has the factory diff in the car. If I were to road race or like do anything more with this car, it needs a diff. It just a lot of times, as soon as the rear unloaded, just spun the tire, so I have to kind of like throttle it around. It did really well. I don't know if the track's getting a little bit warmer and like it's drier or what's going on, but it definitely surprised me. The brakes are, I mean, we have some very basic, I want to say like Hawk entry-level pads on the car. At the limit of the brakes and at the limit of the tires in this car. Definitely has a lot more in it, but I think I was able to push this car a lot closer to the limit than I was the rest of the cars. I would say it probably puts me between the Type R and the Supra right now. So the car has more power. So the back straight, I would guess between 120 and 130, where everything else I've been 110-ish. So just like straight line speed, it definitely was like gone in comparison to the rest of it. But yeah, surprising. Okay, we are in the GTI, Kevin's car. So this car has a lot of the right stuff. The tires are something I've never driven on before, so I don't really know what those are gonna be like. It's our full stage 2 package, so power-wise, they'll be right in the sweet spot. The DSG box is gonna, I think, be really, really fun to drive out here. You obviously don't have to worry about shifting or anything like that with, you don't have to use a clutch. So brakes and throttle, so that just makes things simpler. Your brain doesn't have to do as much. Yeah, I'm really excited to drive this car. I think this is probably one of the ones I'm most excited to drive right now. Okay.
All right, so Dalen's out there in the GTI right now. Now this car obviously is running our full bolt-on package. It's also got some really nice Öhlins Road and Track coilover, so this should be a good car to compare everything against. Obviously the Evo's down, but that was the car with comparative coilover setup. We're gonna go ahead and start the timer because he's coming around the front straight right now. I feel like this car is gonna be a really fast one. As soon as he hits that corner, 1, 2, go.
Find the limit of these tires.
The GTI might sneak up as a contender to be the fastest car out here on the road course. Oh my God, 155.7 on that first lap. Unreal. All right, this is the end of his second lap. We're gonna see if this one's faster. He's currently at a 140 coming around here to the front straight. The time to beat right now is a 155.7, which was just Dalen's previous lap. So here we go. 154.18. That is the fastest lap we've seen today. I wonder if Dalen even realizes how fast he went. Those brakes are smoking. We'll get you some new pads, don't worry about it.
The track is definitely getting better. I don't know if it's just the laps, it getting warmer, it not raining, like yada, 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 all of the above. WRX, this car has decent tires. I don't remember the size, but I think they should be decently large tires. Decent, like Fortune 500 coilovers or 510s or whatever the series is. I don't know, these transmissions feel like Subaru transmissions, so like it's kind of, I don't have a whole lot of seat time in this car, so my expectations are low, but I'm excited to try it out. Car's real loose. A lot more tire left. That's nice. Not the most comfortable seating position. I think I need to sit down and play with it a lot more. To brace myself with my knees, so I can't say I'm the most comfortable right now. Woo, nope, doesn't like the bumps. Most of the other cars are a lot more planted through that. This thing definitely wiggling around.
All right, so Dalen's now out in the WRX. So obviously he's gotten progressively faster as the day has gone on, but that could be also due to just how we structured which car would be going. Again, this might be the car that we anticipated not being the fastest. I'm gonna start the time here. 1, 2, hit. So we're gonna see how the WRX does. If this car performs faster than the GTI, I think that might mean that Dalen's just getting more confident as the day goes on, and we might have to have him go back out in the Supra again to get a more realistic time for how that car did, because that was the first one he did and he was a little nervous. That one being a 206 and the other one's being 2 minutes or less, I think I'd like to see him go do another lap with the Type R and the Supra to see what they can do. So whatever the fastest time ends up being for each car will be on the leaderboard that you guys will see, well, or have been seeing throughout the video. So again, keep in mind that the fastest time will be the one that we display at the end as the placeholder for that car.
I am bracing my entire body trying to make it through this. So the seats are not the best. The all-wheel drive is definitely confidence inspiring on the track. Car doesn't feel like it's want to go all over the place. Oh, that bumper is not happy.
So far he's coming around here, he's going through the S's, he's at a 140, so they're all relatively consistent now that Dalen's gotten a bit more confident in his driving. We're gonna see what he ends up with here. 150, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, again, this was, I can't remember how close this would be to the GTI, but a 154.83 was his first hot lap in the WRX, so that's damn close.
Gearing, second is too high of a gear. Third, not enough. The gearing is a little bit odd out here. I can't seem to figure that out. Once again, more so my fault than the car's fault, but still, just something a little bit odd. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast right here. Moving around a lot.
All right, Dalen's coming around. This is gonna be the end of the second lap. That's a 154.61. He's super consistent. So that is now the second fastest lap, beating his 154.83. We'll see what he thinks.
Overall, I can tell the car is a commuter car. Like, it's just lots of things that didn't make me feel super comfortable on the track. It handled well, tires did really well. Coilovers need some adjustment here and there. A few of the bumps really unsettled the car in comparison to the rest of them, and definitely didn't love it. But overall, it surprised me. It felt a lot better than I expected. It didn't feel like my fastest time at all. I would say I put this midfield, but broken record at this point. This car just recently got a whole bunch of updates to it. So it's got our full Stage 2 package. It's got a set of Fortune coilovers on it. Some Nankang CR1 tires, some Kansai wheels. Got nice big wide tires, so I think, and I really loved them on the Type R, so I think that they should do good. I've never driven one of these on a racetrack before, so I'm really curious how it feels. Okay, steering already immediately feels better in this car than it did the WRX. Steering feels much better. I really like these tires. Brakes are a little questionable. I think this thing is still on a fairly street pad, if I remember correctly. It is nice how torquey this motor is. I don't have to shift the car really all that much, honestly. Let's see how it does over the bump. Okay. It's still a big limitation, still moving around a bunch.
It's currently at a 145. As soon as he hits that apex, we're gonna hit the lap button again. Wow, that's the fastest lap we've had so far from the STI, or any car for that matter. Just ran a 153.72. I'm actually surprised that it's coming down to fractions of a second when it comes to these comparisons, which just goes to show if you're comparing and looking to buy any one of these cars, once you put them into a stage 2 configuration, you're talking about shaving seconds off of your performance.
Gearing is much better than the WRX, it feels like. All-wheel drive, big wide tires definitely makes everything feel better. Just can't, I mean, like the car just wants to go right where I point it, which is nice. I mean, it definitely feels like cheating. I mean, I'm not very good, and this car's just doing what I want it to do every which way. I'm definitely sad the Evo's not happy today, as that would be a really fun comparison between these two.
All right, here we go. This one is for all of the bananas. 150, it's not the fastest lap. And he almost went off that time, locking up the front tires. So that last lap was a 155.57. The first lap was actually faster with a 153.72. Curious to know what Dalen thinks, because again, he just got out of the WRX. It'd be a cool comparison to see hopping out of one seat and into the other. Which car is the best car? STI, WRX? Let us know down below, but we'll get Dalen's feedback.
Big, meaty, sticky 265 CR1s on a all-wheel drive car just felt like cheating. It just felt like I could point it wherever I wanted it to go. I think we had a little bit of fuel slosh or something, like a little bit of cutout here and there, but overall, car felt really good. I think I would probably put it right in that same time as maybe the WRX. I would think it's a little bit faster than WRX just based on speed and gearing. All right, so I am back in the Supra because I think that I'm a little more confident in the cars now. The track feels a little bit better. It's not actually raining at the same time as driving it. It's still cold, so I have a feeling this thing's still gonna be pretty tail happy. We'll see if I can at least improve my time from this morning. I don't know if I expect it to be the fastest car of the day, but I think the time will for sure improve. Tires don't get hot very quick, so I think she's still gonna dance around a bunch. Already much better in comparison this morning. Much better. I'm still a limitation here, but oh, this is so much better.
All right, you guys, so this is currently the redemption lap for the Supra. As we remember, or as you guys probably remember, the first time he went out, the best he was able to score was a 206 with the Supra, but obviously the track has dried up just a little bit from us doing so many laps. We're back in line with the times. He's at a 147. He's coming through the front straight. Oh my God. The redemption lap was worth the effort. A 152.58 was the first time out on his hot lap. We'll see if the second one is any faster. I'm really curious to see what he can do in the Type R on a second time out now that he's done this, because in our opinion, when he and I have driven these cars around the track, that was the fastest. But so far that wasn't the case when it comes to the actual times that we were able to put down today.
So much better.
We're looking at lap number 2 here. Here he comes. I got to make sure I stop this right on time. $152.58. That first lap was the fastest. We'll see what he thinks.
Now that things are just nice outside, gotta unlock everything. Holy f, so much better. Track was definitely a lot more confidence inspiring. I could put a lot more power down in the corners. Still squirrely, not as planted as far as like accelerating out of the turns as say the STI was. Just wonderful to drive and so much better than it was this morning. I could actually put power down out of turns, which was nice, with just immediately doing a rolling burnout. Yeah, I would say that I was able to push this car a lot harder into everything, and it was just a lot more fun, whereas this morning it was just honestly terrifying at every turn. Game on.
All right, redemption run in the Type R. I'm really excited for this one. I gotta make sure I start this time right on time. 3, 2, all right. And he's off. I think this one, if I had to place my bets, I'm gonna put this one at a 153.5.
So this is where we had ABS kick in before. Blinky light a little bit. Oh man, the seat, the steering wheel, the wheels, the tires, the coilovers, the engine, the shifter. I love this car so much.
Oh my God, I was off. I said to do a 153.5. This first lap was a 149.43. So faster by a lot. We've also got a guest appearance from the TLX Type S, and if you guys want to see how that car is doing around the track, you're gonna have to check out the other video that we'll link somewhere up here if you're interested in checking it out.
Oh God, this is incredible. The seats are comfortable. This is by far my favorite cars of ours to drive. Like by far, like without a shadow of a doubt.
143, 44, 45. 147.26. So that is currently 6 seconds faster than the other one. Let's go and check out what Dalen thinks.
If that wasn't the fastest lap of the day, I will just get out and walk home now. I love this car. This is by far the most fun track that like we own. I could drive this car all day and not get bored of it. So much fun. Speed-wise, everything was just right where I wanted it to be. Handling-wise, everything. Brakes-wise, tires, everything. It's got a lot of the same parts as I think the STI and the, I guess they're all pretty similar overall of like entry-level parts, basic stuff. But holy f, this car out of the box, just incredible. Was able to put it through every single thing I wanted it to do. Was able to basically point the car and shoot, and it worked everywhere. A few times I got like traction control or something to kick in, like ABS would straighten me out, but this car was just so confidence inspiring. Like there were a few times just like I outdrove, like I did more than the car wanted, but like the car has more in it, but holy shit, so much fun.
All right, you guys, so obviously we were able to finish up all of the track stuff we had to do with all of these cars, obviously with the exception of the Evo 10, but that's gonna wrap up the stuff that we've got for content here at the track. We're gonna take things back to the shop and we're gonna figure out which one of these cars is the best enthusiast vehicle of the decade. Let's head back. All right, you guys, so we're finally back from the track and a few days have actually passed. We've actually gone ahead and taken all of the data and the lap times and things of that nature and compiled it into a spreadsheet so that we actually now know which of these cars is the winner. Now, the statistics and data that we're taking into consideration are obviously the times, sponsored by Dragy. Of course, if you need one of those devices, check out the link in the description. So the 40 to 100 times is gonna be obviously one of the categories, the time around the road course, the best time that the car's got, of course. And then what we did is we took those two numbers and we divided it by the MSRP of these vehicles in thousands. And the reason we did that is so that it kind of gives a fair shake to, for example, comparing a $27,000 WRX to a $53,000, Infiniti Q60. Obviously, again, those are the MSRPs of the cars when they were released and not the prices you could get them in now. Without further delay, we're gonna get into it and start ranking these cars, starting with the car that came in 7th place. And I gotta be honest, the first one I'm a little bit sad about because in 7th place, we've got the Evo 10. That's only, I think, due to the fact that, again, it was unable to actually compete in the road course because we did obviously ruin that clutch when we were just kind of messing around a little bit off camera, if we're being completely honest here. So it was unable to make it to that. We blew the clutch. We're gonna be getting a new one. Stay tuned for that if you wanna see a revival of the Evo 10 build. So the Evo 10 did, of course, score pretty well in the 40 to 100. It actually ended up in 4th place out of all of our cars. So also, I believe that with the modifications we've done to that car over time, which you guys have obviously seen on the channel, that it would have done incredibly well on the road course had it made it there. Classic classic Evo story, right? It would have done great, but it was broken. The MSRP of that car is $33,000 when it came out. So giving this car an overall score of 2.12. Moving on next, in 6th place, we actually had, surprisingly, the Q60. And now this wasn't because it performed poorly in any category. It was number 1 in the 40 to 100. However, in the road course, the Q60 ended up taking 6th place. Now, again, that was due to, again, maybe being set up a little bit improperly for road course racing. Obviously, it makes a ton of power. Not a lot of attention that we've put in that car in regards to braking, or, you know, really the stance of that car is really set up to kind of look really cool. And have the biggest wheel and the lowest amount of gap between the tire and the fender, sort of. So again, 6th place on the road course, and again with a MSRP of $53,000, it had quite a bit of ground to make up in comparison to some of the more entry-level, affordable vehicles out there. So the Q60 ended up with a score of 2.83. So again, most of what's knocking that down isn't the performance of the vehicle as much as it is the MSRP in comparison to how well it did with the other vehicles we compared it against. Super surprisingly here, the MSRP being the thing that killed it is the Supra. So the Supra actually ended up taking 2nd in the 40 to 100 and 2nd in the road race. As you guys remember, obviously that second redemption lap we were able to do with the Supra really helped it make up some ground, as we obviously had dried the track out a little bit with all of the lapping we had done with the other car. The MSRP of that car, obviously people bought it for, I think, a little bit more, but 50,000 bucks was what those were going for out the door. So with that 50 divider, or whatever you'd want to call it, it brought that thing down to a 3.6 on our scale. Now moving up into 4th place, we have the STI. Now the STI did score relatively well in each of the categories. In the road race, it did a little bit better, but in the 40 to 100, the STI ended up taking 6th. It wasn't necessarily the fastest. Obviously, they got a lot of gear movement that they're doing when they're doing shifts, so that shifter movement may have been one of the factors that kept it from going incredibly fast. Obviously, they've still got a lot of creature comforts like back seats and things like that that add a lot of weight. So in comparison to some of the other cars which make a little bit more power, those cars obviously had a little bit of ground to make up. Then again, with the road race, it did end up taking 3rd place in the road course. However, then with the MSRP of that car being $36,000, it ended up with a score of 3.61 on our scale here. Moving up then into 3rd place is the WRX. This car was the cheapest car in the lineup, costing only $27,000. It did end up performing the worst in the 40 to 100, actually being 7th place. Then when it came to the road course, the WRX ended up taking 5th place. So again, nothing incredible, but bang for your buck wise, with it only costing $27,000. It didn't have that divider at the bottom of it to kind of knock those points down a bit. So it ended up with a score of 3.70. Moving into 2nd place is the Type R. Now, honestly, I was expecting this car to take 1st personally. It's probably my personal favorite car. It did not necessarily score all that high in the 40-100. However, when it came to the road course, that's where this thing really took to a shining. And with an MSRP, again, MSRP, not what the dealer markups did, it ended up costing about 35 grand out the door. So that car ended up with a score of 4.57, obviously beating out the WRX by almost an entire point on our scale. Now, before we go ahead and announce that last car, the 1st place winner, obviously I'm sure you can already guess it, but I do want to make sure you guys know that we do have tons of Black Friday deals going on, and I wanted to give a huge shout out to everybody who helped make this video possible. So if you need any parts for your car, there's a ton of deals going on right now. I'm literally sitting in a warehouse chock full of about $5 million worth of car parts. If you've made it this far, make sure you check out the link down in the description for those deals that are currently happening. With this being a Black Friday feature film, I want to make sure that we plug some of those deals and get these brands who helped us make this video possible a little bit of support in the Black Friday sales initiatives that we all have going on. But without further ado, the 1st place car in the ultimate driver's car of the decade is the Mk7 GTI. Now, surprisingly, this car didn't necessarily score incredibly high anywhere on the field. It wasn't ever 1st, and it wasn't even ever 2nd, but it did take 3rd place in the 40 to 100. Again, that DSG helps it, so you don't have to do the shifts. You can just focus on driving, things of that nature. And then obviously when it came to the road course, it just dropped down another place. So it ended up in 4th place on the road course. Again, 3rd place and 4th place. That's not podium. I mean, it is technically a podium, but it's not staggeringly great performance anywhere in comparison to some of the other vehicles. However, this car has an MSRP of only $29,000. So if you're looking for the best bang for your buck sort of vehicle, this is definitely going to be that. It actually beat out the Type R, from which, as you might remember, had a 4.57 on our scale. The GTI ended up scoring a 5.17, so it beat it out by quite a bit, and that's obviously due to the fact that it had such a low cost and such a high performance considering. The car obviously had all the right parts on it with the exception of some braking upgrades. It had some relatively basic stuff done there, but obviously the Öhlins road and track coilovers, super incredible. It had brand new tires from Continental. The 1552 wheels looked amazing and actually took some bumps around the road course like at Champ. No cracks or chips or anything like that, which we actually were expecting. And then obviously the MAPerformance Stage 2 package upgrade did a lot for this car when it came to the power upgrades. Obviously we slapped the tune on there with the access port, and the results speak for itself. If you're looking for a car that's giving you the best bang for your buck and it's going to be something that you can look cool in and drive around in and have fun as a daily driver, that's going to be the car. We've obviously had a ton of fun playing with cars over the last few weeks and even the last 15 years that we've been in business. And again, the performance of this is unstaggeringly impressive, at least in my opinion. But with that being said, guys, that's where we're gonna end today's video. Thank you so much. If you tuned around to watch this entire thing, I'm sure it's like at least a 50+ minute long video. It means that you're definitely somebody who's looking to support us. If you wanna see more content like this, make sure you share this video out. Make sure you leave us a comment down below and let us know what you thought. And who knows, maybe we'll be doing some different, more upscale versions of this with, built engines and boosted cars next time around. But until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for tuning in. Peace.